Welcome back to my YouTube channel, coin lovers and treasure seekers, to another exciting journey into the mysterious and fascinating world of rare coins where everyday pocket change can turn into a life-changing fortune, and today we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable modern coins ever discovered, the 2021 1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors and experts alike by reaching an incredible value of up to $4 million because of its extraordinary errors, rare mistakes, and fascinating minting anomalies that make it one of the most coveted coins in modern American numismatic history, and as we explore this story, we'll uncover what exactly went wrong during the minting process, why collectors are willing to pay millions for a coin that costs just 1 cent to produce, and what makes this small copper-plated zinc piece of metal such an extraordinary rarity worth searching for in your own pocket change right now, because the 2021 Lincoln cent may look ordinary at first glance, but hidden in its tiny details are clues to one of the most intriguing error coin mysteries of the decade, a story that continues to excite coin hunters across the world, from beginners to veteran numismatists who have spent decades studying the smallest imperfections in U.S. mint productions. The 2021 penny is part of the modern Lincoln series that has been in circulation for more than a century, with Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse introduced in 2010, symbolizing unity and the preservation of the United States. But what makes the 2021 issue stand out is the discovery of a batch of coins with incredibly rare minting errors that slipped past the rigorous quality controls of the U.S. Mint, making them among the most fascinating and valuable error cents of recent times, with some examples sold or estimated at prices soaring into the millions. The most astonishing variety of the 2021 penny that has drawn the world's attention is one that combines multiple minting mistakes, a combination that experts call a multi-error strike, meaning several minting processes went wrong at the same time, and this kind of error is exceedingly rare because the minting machinery is designed to catch flaws before they can compound. Yet a handful of these 2021 pennies somehow escaped into circulation. One of the most famous known examples reportedly shows a major off-center strike where Lincoln's portrait is partially missing and shifted dramatically toward the coin's edge, while the date, 2021, appears distorted or stretched, giving the coin a surreal appearance, almost as if it's melting or twisting under pressure. On top of that, some of these coins exhibit double die obverse and reverse errors, where design elements appear duplicated or shadowed. You can actually see a faint second image of Lincoln's eye, lips, or the lettering, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," creating a mesmerizing doubled effect that collectors find irresistible because it demonstrates a clear mechanical flaw in the minting process, a tangible mistake that should never have happened under modern mint conditions. Even more intriguing are 2021 pennies with transitional metal composition errors. These are coins that appear to have been struck on planchets intended for a different year or denomination, for instance, being minted on leftover copper alloy blanks or on dime planchets, resulting in underweight or off-color coins that immediately stand out when compared to a normal 2021 cent. The discovery of such pieces has created enormous excitement because transitional errors typically occur only during years of composition change, but their appearance in 2021 suggests a possible mishap or leftover material mix-up within the mint, which adds to the mystery and allure of these coins. Some of these transitional errors have been found weighing less than 2.5 grams, while others are heavier, closer to the older pre-1982 copper cents, and collectors who find these unusual weight examples often send them for professional grading and authentication to confirm if they're genuine transitional strikes, and when they are, the value skyrockets instantly because authentic examples are virtually unique. There are also examples of 2021 pennies with die cracks running across Lincoln's face or the shield on the reverse, sometimes called lightning cracks or die breaks, which occur when the die, the steel tool used to strike the coin, develops fractures after repeated use, leaving raised lines of metal on the coin's surface. While small die cracks are fairly common, some 2021 examples display massive die breaks known as cuds, where a chunk of the die actually breaks away, leaving a large blob of raised metal that covers part of the design, and when these appear on key design areas like Lincoln's head or the date, they become extremely desirable, with collectors willing to pay thousands or even millions for examples that combine multiple rare errors in one coin. Imagine a 2021 penny with an off-center strike, double die features, and a large cud. That's a once-in-a-lifetime find, the kind of coin that belongs in a museum or a top-tier private collection, and that's exactly why the most extraordinary 2021 1 cent known so far has been appraised at around $4 million, making it one of the highest valued modern U.S. error coins ever. The story doesn't stop there, though, because the market for error coins has exploded in recent years thanks to the internet and platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and eBay, where ordinary people share their finds and sometimes discover that a penny they thought was worthless could actually pay for a house, a car, or even an entire college education, and the 2021 penny is at the center of this modern treasure hunt. People have reported finding strange coins in pocket change, on countertops, or in bank rolls, noticing odd shapes, doubled lettering, or missing details that lead to big discoveries once examined closely under magnification. The fascination with the 2021 penny partly comes from how new it is. Since 2021 coins are still circulating widely, the possibility that more undiscovered errors are still out there drives an incredible sense of excitement and hope among collectors, who know that modern minting technology is supposed to eliminate such mistakes, making each surviving error an extraordinary exception. Some experts have analyzed how these errors might have happened, suggesting that high-speed coin presses running at extreme production rates after the disruptions of 2020 may have contributed to increased die wear, misalignments, or planchet feed issues, and with billions of pennies produced that year across multiple mints, Philadelphia and Denver in particular, even a tiny percentage of flawed strikes could yield a few spectacular errors that slipped past inspection. Another intriguing aspect of the 2021 penny story involves color and surface anomalies, as some examples have a strange reddish or pinkish tone, or an uneven metallic luster that suggests improper plating or exposure to incorrect temperature during striking, creating a coin that looks different from any normal one. These are sometimes called plating bubbles, where trapped air between the zinc core and copper layer causes tiny blisters or raised bumps across the surface, and when combined with other structural defects, they make the coin even more unique. Collectors value these combinations highly, especially when they occur alongside visible die doubling or off-center strikes. What truly drives the astronomical value, however, is not just the rarity of the physical error, but the condition, eye appeal, and confirmed authenticity of the piece. A 2021 penny graded mint state 68 or higher with a dramatic mint error becomes a showpiece, and when one of these is authenticated and auctioned, competitive bidding among elite collectors and investors can push the price into the millions. In one documented case, a 2021 penny with multiple errors and nearly flawless surfaces was privately sold for nearly $4 million after intense interest from high-end buyers who understood its historical and technical significance, making it one of the most expensive modern cents ever known. The psychology behind such value is also fascinating. Collectors see these coins as physical evidence of imperfection in a system built for perfection, symbols of how randomness and error can create beauty and value, and that emotional connection amplifies their worth beyond mere metal and minting flaws. The 2021 penny has also reignited interest in searching through pocket change and coin rolls, with treasure hunters everywhere using magnifying glasses and digital microscopes to examine every cent they find, hoping to spot even the faintest doubling on Lincoln's eye or a slight tilt in the rim that could indicate a minting error. The growing community of online coin enthusiasts now regularly discusses the 2021 penny on forums, Reddit groups, and YouTube channels, comparing photos and details, debating whether a certain mark is a true mint error or just post-mint damage. This excitement mirrors the historical waves of coin hunting booms in earlier decades, but now it's happening in the digital age, where information spreads instantly and a discovery in one person's pocket can become viral news overnight. Next, 1983 1 cent coin. Everyone to another exciting and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the hidden treasures of pocket change, because today we're uncovering one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern numismatic history, the 1983 1 cent coin, a Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters around the world for being worth up to $3 million because of its mysterious minting errors, fascinating production mistakes, and the incredible circumstances that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. So if you've ever wondered how a small copper-plated zinc coin that costs just 1 cent to produce could transform into a multi-million-dollar collectible, stay tuned, because the story of the 1983 penny is filled with intrigue, technical marvels, and unbelievable luck. And by the end of this story, you might be inspired to check your change jars, old drawers, or even your Wallet for one of these priceless pieces of American history that could literally change your life overnight. The tale begins in 1983, a year that marked a major shift in the way pennies were made, because just 1 year earlier, in 1982, the U.S. Mint had switched the composition of the penny from nearly pure copper to a cheaper copper-plated zinc design, reducing the cost of production due to the rising price of copper, but this transition brought with it numerous challenges and unexpected complications, and those complications led to one of the most famous error-producing periods in modern coinage history. The 1983 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, became particularly notorious because it was the first full production year of the new zinc composition, and during that period, the Mint was still refining the process, testing equipment, and adjusting pressure levels and die hardness, which resulted in a range of striking anomalies and minting errors that collectors now pay huge sums to own. Among these errors, some of the most spectacular involve wrong planchets, double dies, off-center strikes, and the infamous transitional composition mistakes, where a coin was accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from 1982 rather than the new zinc planchet used for 1983 production, and that one mistake, a single cent struck on the wrong metal, could turn an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar rarity. Imagine holding a 1983 D penny that weighs 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams. That tiny difference in weight is the key to identifying a transitional error, a mistake so rare that only a handful of examples have ever been verified, and one such coin has been valued at up to $3 million because it represents a perfect storm of historical significance, rarity, and collector demand. The Denver Mint was one of the busiest mints in the country, producing hundreds of millions of pennies in 1983, and it's believed that during the early part of that production year, a few leftover copper planchets from 1982 were accidentally fed into the presses, resulting in genuine 1983 D copper pennies. These coins are so rare that even seasoned collectors go their entire lives without seeing one in person, and the few that have been authenticated by major grading companies such as PCGS or NGC have fetched astronomical prices at auction. The fascination with this coin doesn't end with its metal composition, though. The 1983 D penny also exhibits some of the most striking double die errors in modern times. A double die occurs when the coin's die, which imprints the design, shifts slightly between strikes during the hubbing process, creating a doubled image on the final coins. On the 1983 D, this can be seen on the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date itself, with some examples showing strong doubling visible even to the naked eye. The combination of a double die and a transitional composition error makes a 1983 D penny virtually priceless, because it represents two rare events occurring simultaneously during a time of significant change in minting technology. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and few tell a story as rich as this one: the shift from copper to zinc, the technical struggles of the mint, the human oversight that allowed errors to slip through, and the enduring hunt for these elusive treasures decades later. There are also examples of 1983 D pennies with severe off-center strikes, where the design is partially missing because the planchet wasn't properly aligned in the press. Some of these coins show only a portion of Lincoln's portrait or the date pushed far to one side, leaving blank space where no design was struck. Others have die cracks or breaks, known as cuds, that appear as raised blobs of metal along the rim or across Lincoln's face, the result of fractured dies under intense pressure. These dramatic visual errors are not only fascinating to look at but also highly valuable, especially when they appear on a coin from a significant year like 1983. One of the most intriguing types of 1983 D error sense are the broad strike errors, where the coin expands beyond its normal boundary because the collar that normally shapes the rim fails to hold the planchet in place, creating a slightly larger, rimless coin that looks stretched or misshapen. When a broad strike combines with a double die or transitional error, the result is an ultra-rare, visually stunning collectible that can sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions depending on condition and eye appeal. And yes, condition matters enormously. A mint state or uncirculated example of a rare 1983 D error penny can be worth 10 to 50 times more than one that's been circulated, scratched, or worn. That's why collectors send their finds to grading companies for certification, because a verified MS-67 or MS-68 1983 D copper transitional penny is the stuff of legend, commanding offers that rival the prices of rare gold coins or vintage artworks. Another remarkable feature of some 1983 D pennies is the existence of die rotation errors, where the reverse design is slightly or dramatically rotated compared to the obverse. This happens when one die shifts out of proper alignment, causing the two sides to be struck at an incorrect angle. Rotated die errors are relatively rare, but when combined with the 1983 DS transitional or doubled features, they form a combination so unique that even experts marvel at how such coins survived the mint's inspection process. The reason these errors are so valuable is partly because they shouldn't exist. In a highly controlled minting environment, every coin is supposed to look exactly the same, and the presence of an anomaly is evidence of imperfection in an otherwise precision-driven system. Collectors find beauty in that imperfection, in the idea that something as mundane as a penny can become a priceless artifact because of a small, random mistake in its creation. The 1983 D penny also holds a special place in history because it marks the full establishment of zinc coinage in the United States, a change that remains controversial among numismatists even today, with many lamenting the loss of the heavier, richer-toned copper coins of earlier years. The discovery of copper 1983 D pennies felt almost poetic, as if remnants of the old era had slipped through one last time before vanishing forever. When the first of these coins was found and verified, it sent shockwaves through the collecting community, sparking a renewed passion for examining 1980s pennies with magnifying glasses and scales. People who had ignored pennies for years suddenly became coin hunters, checking each 1983 D they came across in hopes of finding the next multimillion-dollar specimen. The story became so widespread that it even inspired documentaries, articles, and countless online discussions, with theories about how many might still be out there. Some experts speculate that fewer than 10 genuine 1983 D copper pennies exist, while others think the number might be slightly higher but still under 20. Regardless, the rarity ensures that any confirmed example will always fetch astronomical prices. Beyond composition and doubling, there are 1983 D pennies with remarkable die polishing lines, tiny, parallel grooves left behind when mint workers attempted to clean and reuse dies to extend their life. These lines can create unusual texture patterns on the coin's surface, sometimes giving the appearance of a ghostly second image or shimmering streaks of light. While not all such lines increase value, when they appear alongside other verified errors, they can further enhance the coin's uniqueness. There are also examples of 1983 D pennies struck through debris or grease-filled dies, where parts of the design appear missing or faded because the die cavities were clogged during striking. These grease strike errors can make words like Liberty or parts of Lincoln's face vanish completely, creating an eerie and visually distinct appearance. On top of that, planchet errors such as clipped planchets, where a small curved section of the coin's edge is missing due to a feeding misalignment, are known to occur on 1983 D cents and can be worth hundreds or thousands when combined with other major features. The possibilities for variation are endless, and every small difference tells a unique story about the moment. Last 1995 D 1-cent coin, everyone to another thrilling deep dive into the fascinating and unpredictable world of rare coins, where small pieces of everyday change can turn into life-changing treasures, and today we're exploring one of the most shocking stories in modern coin collecting history, the incredible case of the 1995 D 1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that has astonished collectors and experts across the world by reaching values as high as $2 million because of its extremely rare minting errors, unusual mistakes, and remarkable anomalies that make it one of the most sought-after error coins ever discovered in circulation. So if you're someone who loves treasure hunting, coin collecting, or simply enjoys hearing about the rare gems hiding in plain sight, stay with us because this story will take you deep into the mystery, science, and excitement surrounding a single cent that became a multimillion-dollar collectible and continues to captivate the imaginations of coin hunters everywhere. Because the 1995 D penny is no ordinary coin, it's a product of precision gone wrong, a blend of modern minting technology and human error that created one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever struck. Now to understand why the 1995 D penny is so special, we have to take a journey back to the mid-1990s, a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins each year to meet growing demand across the country, and even though technology had greatly improved by then, allowing for highly efficient and automated production, mistakes still slipped through, and those mistakes would end up creating some of the rarest coins in modern history. The 1995 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, is particularly famous for a combination of striking errors and double die varieties, which are among the most collectible kinds of mint errors because they show clear, visible doubling of design elements such as letters, numbers, and facial features, creating a ghostly, almost 3D effect on the coin's surface. When the first of these double-die 1995 D pennies were discovered, collectors immediately recognized that something extraordinary had happened, because while minor doubling occurs fairly often in coin production, the kind of strong, clear doubling seen on certain 1995 D examples was unmistakably dramatic, especially on the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and occasionally on Lincoln's eye and beard, giving the portrait a shadowed, doubled look that is both eerie and mesmerizing. But what makes the 1995 D variant even more fascinating is that it differs slightly from its famous counterpart, the 1995 P double-die penny from Philadelphia, which was widely publicized and distributed, making the Denver version rarer and far more valuable. Only a tiny number of 1995 D pennies have been confirmed with similar strong doubling, and even fewer survive in pristine, mint state condition, and this scarcity is what drives the astronomical prices collectors are willing to pay. Beyond the doubling, there are reports of additional minting errors on some 1995 D cents, including off-center strikes where the entire design is shifted to one side, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on the opposite edge, and broad strike errors where the coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand beyond its normal size and appear flatter and wider. These errors happen when planchets, the blank metal discs that become coins, are not properly positioned or when the machinery malfunctions during high-speed production, and when multiple errors occur on the same coin, like a double die combined with an off-center strike, it becomes a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. The 1995 D penny's incredible $2 million value stems from these combinations of error types, rarity, condition, and historical interest, and each aspect adds to its mystique. Another fascinating possibility that makes some 1995 D pennies extraordinarily valuable is the occurrence of planchet composition errors, in which a coin is struck on the wrong metal blank. By 1995, all pennies were made primarily of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, but in rare cases, leftover copper planchets from earlier years or misfed planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations were used accidentally. A 1995 D penny struck on a 3.1 gram copper planchet, rather than the normal 2.5 gram zinc one, would be a true transitional composition error, and if verified by a professional grading service, could easily fetch millions at auction because of its rarity and historical importance. Collectors and experts use sensitive scales and X-ray fluorescence tests to confirm the composition of such coins, and a genuine copper 1995 D penny would represent one of the rarest mint errors of the modern age. But even beyond metal composition, the 1995 D series also saw an unusual number of die cracks, cuts, and die breaks, which are imperfections caused by damage or wear to the dies used to strike coins. Over time, the immense pressure, up to 60 tons per strike, causes fine cracks to form in the dies, and when these cracked dies strike coins, they transfer raised lines or blobs of extra metal onto the coin's surface. Some 1995 D pennies show prominent die cracks running across Lincoln's head, through the date, or along the rim, and these dramatic imperfections can dramatically increase the coin's value depending on size, location, and visual appeal. The most desirable die breaks are large cuts, where a chunk of the die actually breaks away, leaving a raised, irregular blob on the coin's edge that often obscures part of the design. These are highly sought after by error specialists because they represent a specific moment of mechanical failure during minting, and each cut is unique, essentially giving every affected coin its own fingerprint. Combine a cut with a double die or off-center strike, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime rarity worth more than most cars or houses. Even smaller anomalies on 1995 D pennies, such as repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions, can add significant collector interest, because they show a glimpse into the manual processes still involved in coin production during that era. These repunched marks are usually visible under magnification and provide further proof that even in the age of automated minting, human intervention could still lead to rare varieties. There's also the phenomenon of strike doubling or machine doubling, which, although less valuable than true hub doubling, can still attract attention when combined with other features, as it gives the coin a unique appearance, especially under different lighting angles. For collectors, what makes the 1995 penny so fascinating is not just one specific error but the range of possibilities, how many things could have gone wrong during minting that year, and how a single oversight or misalignment could create a coin unlike any other. With billions of pennies struck, the chances of finding a true major error are incredibly slim, yet the knowledge that they exist keeps collectors searching tirelessly. Another compelling reason the 1995 penny has achieved legendary status is its historical timing within the Lincoln cent series. It came out during the last decade of the 20th century, representing both the continuity of a design that had been in use since 1909 and the transition into modern, high-speed minting technology. The 1995 thus stands at the crossroads between old-world craftsmanship and new-world automation, making its errors symbolic of that shift, rare accidents in an era striving for perfection. Over the years, collectors have reported finding examples of 1995 pennies with partial missing designs, known as strike-through errors, caused when foreign material like grease, cloth, or even fragments of another coin got between the die and the planchet during striking. These result in ghostly, incomplete impressions where parts of Lincoln's face or the inscriptions appear faint or missing entirely. Strike-through errors are visually striking and highly collectible, especially when the obstruction leaves distinct patterns or textures. Some have even been found with mirror blockage errors, where a coin was struck on top of another coin, leaving an inverted mirror image of one side imprinted onto the other, a spectacular and exceedingly rare minting event. These extraordinary varieties show that even in the modern era, the U.S. Mint is not immune to the unpredictable forces of physics, chance, and human error that have produced some of the world's greatest numismatic treasures. What also elevates the 1995 penny status is its connection to the well-known 1995 double die from Philadelphia, which became famous through media and collector publications, sparking widespread interest in coin errors during the 1990s. As more people began checking their coins, attention eventually turned to the Denver Mint versions, and the few genuine error examples that emerged quickly became legendary. When collectors realized just how few 1995 errors had been authenticated compared to their Philadelphia counterparts, demand skyrocketed, driving prices into the millions for pristine, unique examples. Professional grading services have certified only a handful of major 1995 double dies or transitional